Hello, friends. Kenieshiear here. So I thought it'd be cool to do kind of an intro video for those of you who know me, don't know me, but to give you kind of a bit of a background and what to expect. I had a very sweet friend that I was sitting and having lunch with, and he was like, "I just want to subscribe to Kenieshiear," and I was like, "Huh?" I mean, you can imagine the thought bubbles, maybe we'll put those in. Um, Subscribe to Kenieshiear. What does that look like? And so after that, I really started thinking about it, praying about it. Even later, I spoke with him to ask him, like, what do you think that looks like? What was helpful to you? And, in his particular situation, they had, this is some time ago, they had a new baby, and I was just sharing some of the things that helped us when we had a new baby, when it came to breastfeeding and eating and sleeping and all the things, and a lot of things that just has helped, and I've just heard a lot of very positive feedback, and that's that realm. But then also, I've had people really appreciate how we've started a business, and how we travel full time, and how we do ministry, and how we help with healing and helping people in various ways. And we are not doctors or physicians. We just serve Jesus, and we just go where he tells us, and I say what he tells me to say, and then helping, to lead in organizations and development, and, on the personal level, on the business level, on the spiritual level, and really, ultimately trying to create very successful endeavors, for ourselves and others, through business, through networking, through healthy families, through healthy relationships, based on the very unhealthy relationships and situations that I've had, and how God's brought me through those and provided me with his wisdom to be able to come out on top, and then to help others. And I am a partier. My first business was event planning, surprisingly to me, unexpected to me, because my original plan was being a lawyer. And that's a whole other story. It went from being a lawyer, and then God was like, no, I don't have that for you. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to Germany for an undisclosed or known amount of time, and then coming back here, and I don't really know what I did when I do. And then I went back to college. And so all of that led to, surprisingly, because it has not even connected, event planning. And so then that turned into property management, but not like the real estate property management, actually short-term rental, vacation management. And then now we travel full time and homeschool our children. So lots of non sequiturs that are kind of connected, but it's along the way, a lot of wisdom, learning, and we meet so many people. And I, love everybody everywhere I go, and the learning, and then learning. I'm very good at sales, although I totally want to write a book called The Death of a Salesman, where I teach anybody who has any sort of business or need for sales to be able to do sales, because anybody can do sales with just the right reframing. So that is an example. So what you can expect is, and I'm going to just say this, so many people tell you to niche down, and I just cannot do it. I'm going to niche up. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We're going to niche up. We will talk about all kinds of things that I have found that have just been supremely helpful to myself and others, because I'm one of those that wants to do all the things. And guess what? We live in a world right now where you can do all the things. You can work a full-time job and have like a couple of side hustles, because of the opportunities, the apps, and the now the global availability of clients and teams and partnerships that you can create to be able to, now you can literally serve somebody 24/7 if you've got a team on the other side of the world. So with these things available to us, we can create more passive income streams, more opportunities to make money when you sleep, which Warren Buffett, whom I don't really know a whole lot about except for this quote, but totally love it, is, if you really want wealth, you need to learn how to make money while you sleep. And that makes sense, because there's only so many hours in the day. And when you work a 9 to 5 job, that's only so many. I mean, even if you made a lot of money, that's all the money that you can really make within that period of time, according to the traditional way of doing things. So if you learn how to make money when your time is preoccupied somewhere else, well, now you've just started growing upon growing. And then if you find ways to even exponentially grow that through whether you have teams of people working for you, or you have some kind of product or service that you've developed that's just kind of on its own without you having to do a whole lot of stuff, well, then now you've kind of created an exponential growth situation. So a lot of times, that's not what people do. They want the security of the job, and usually they're too tired to do anything else after that. So I would love to break that whole thing. Just break it up and disrupt that signal and see like, what can we do? What can we do outside of the norm? If you guys have know me or have listened to any of my stuff before, I have a podcast called Opting Out that I started back in, I believe, 2018, where I was going through some very difficult season, but in that season I was also developing, like I started coaching and doing a master's program, and I started this podcast where I was like opting out, and it was really like, how can we unplug into the norms? And I feel like it's just this signal that we have. You're raised in a certain environment and you're kind of on autopilot, and you have the goal you're going to do, and you're just walking that path. I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have a family, I'm going to work a job, and I'm going to maybe vacation sometimes, and then I can't wait till I retire so I can do what I want to do, and then I retire, and then I don't really know what I want to do, and I'm bored, and actually I need to make more money because my retirement's not enough for the increase in living expenses that's out there, and I just have the one property, and all of that stuff. And we all tend to be, a lot of us tend to be on kind of some version of that path, and we don't deviate from it because that's just kind of the signal. That's just kind of the norm. That's just kind of what we do, and we preoccupy ourselves with media and TV and drama or whatever it is that we shopping, whatever it is that we do, and we just kind of go along that path and don't really deviate from it. And so opting out for me was like, I don't want to do any of this. And that was me. Everybody's in a different place in their life, but I just was looking and I was like thinking about this. Like, I had very small children who weren't in school yet, and my husband worked a full-time job away from the house, and I had a business that I was doing here and there because I was more focused on being the mommy at home, thinking it was a either or situation. And then it was literally kind of like a wake-up call, and it just happened to me, kind of being struck by something where I was like, if I continue this route, am I going to be happy with where it's going to end up? These all the things that I wanted to do, or how I saw my life going, and for me personally, it wasn't. And I was like, I want to opt out of this. I don't want to do it for me. I don't want to do it this way. I want to travel. I don't want to wait to travel. I don't want to wait until my children are this or that. I want to do it right now, And so I started doing very crazy things that allowed us to do these things right now. And it first started with doing a podcast. It's funny. I decided to do the podcast, and then we just did a random month-long trip with no plan in December. It was my first Airbnb experience. My husband was able to work remotely, and he wasn't super excited about doing it, but he was like, okay, because I tended to come home and wanted to do crazy things like that. So I'm like, let's just take a month-long trip. You still have some vacation. You can work during some of it, and we'll just drive wherever we don't really know, and we'll end up visiting family for Christmas at some point. And so we left for a whole month, children and animals in tow, stayed at some Airbnbs and met some strangers and all that good stuff. And in that process of that is when I actually launched the podcast. We had the equipment and the microphone, and I think I have a picture somewhere, ready to set up, and I just unleashed it. I didn't write anything, and this is 2017, so I think it was before podcasts blew up as they did, or 2018. And so I just, did it. I didn't know what I was going to say. I prayed ahead of time, and I even said, I don't know what's going to happen here, but we're going to just do this. And I did it, and then I launched it midnight, New Year's Day. And I texted a bunch of friends the link and said, hey, what do y'all think? I've just launched a podcast, and I got amazing feedback. And the funny thing about me is I have actually very rarely gone back and listened to any of the things that I've done unless I accidentally listened to it, which has happened before. I have accidentally listened to a podcast of mine going, well, I didn't pull this up and it's playing. Maybe I'm supposed to listen to it. And I helped myself. So that's to let you guys know that it is divinely inspired, because I didn't even remember what I said. And at the time I was wrestling with something, and that podcast helped me. So funny. So I launched it out there, and then, I never really had a regular schedule. I just, as I felt inspired, I would do it. I got a lot of hits, a lot of watches. A lot of people in India were actually watching us or listening. And then we instituted the Extraordinary Zone, where we would interview people that I just were willing to come and tell their story. I interviewed some amazing veterans and author. During COVID, we did some interviews. It was kind of really cool. We came up with a way to do interviews kind of virtually in a really neat way, that they weren't live, but it was cool. I mean, like at one point, would set it up on a monitor, and it looked like I was next to the monitor, interviewing the monitor remotely. I mean, we got really creative over the years with Extraordinary Zone, and then we even kind of spun off and did something called the Adventure Startup, where we talked to people who just like formed a business, out of nothing, with an amazing story for encouragement. And all of it, just in my nature, was to encourage and motivate people. If any of you are familiar with the spiritual gifts, there's so many of them. One of the ones that I never really knew what it was exhortation. And in the last maybe several months, I heard a really neat talk by Derek Prince, who's been long since passed, but amazing teachings that still help today. But the way I remember him defining it was to motivate and excite to action. And I was like, that sounds just like me. And I heard another conversation recently where this person was like, you are definitely an exhorter. And she called them world changers. And I was like, I could totally see that, because it's catalyst, it's movement. And I think what's at most attacked today is the action. Like, a lot of us will get motivated and very easily get unmotivated, discouraged. There's just so much out there. I don't know how many times I sat down and have tried to do just this in some form for like years. Like, I haven't actually released anything really like this since probably 2023, 2022, 2023, somewhere in there. That's when I did an actual interview, I think was 2022. So it just goes to show that it can sometimes be, I call it like, you cannot hit escape velocity, and you just cannot seem to get it out there. And so I'm thankful, hopefully this gets out there, that I'm here and setting my intention and, wanting to put something out there and encourage, and hopefully to do a whole lot of steps. I'm hoping this will be like this launch, and from this will just be a whole cascading effect of things that God is just going to take and do, because I cannot do it without his help. I'm barely doing this. So I'm excited about it though. So we've been trying to figure out how to organize it, all these things, because there's so many things out there, but I feel like we need to put it all out there, because there's something for everyone. And like I said, niche up. That's where I'm at. Like, if I'm going to be a billionaire, if you're going to be a billionaire, then we got to have all the things. They talk about multiple revenue streams. I think it's good to have a niche here and there when it's a need, but, to be willing, because then you don't ceiling yourself. You don't lock yourself down or keep yourself you get yourself in a corner that makes it more energy and resources to pivot or do other things in addition. And so I want to see more of us living out our dreams and raising our families the way we want to, and setting up the future the way we want them, and setting up generational wealth the way we're hoping to do so, and not just talking about it, not just attending sessions and info sessions about it, but actually taking real actions that we can measure that shows that we are taking steps, actual steps towards what we're trying to do, whether that's buying your first property, buying your second property, networking more, starting your own business, quitting your day job, homeschooling your children, getting your health back in order, breaking down limiting beliefs that are keeping you from being able to be who you want to be, getting physically where you want to be, all those things that we all in some form want to get there and just seem to find ourselves unable to. And let me just tell you, my friends, there really is a resistive force out there that wants to see you fail. There is they talk about light and dark, devil, God. There is a negative force out there that wants to see all of us fail miserably, crash, burn. And I know that we have a force that loves us, that wants to see us do well. And for me, that is Jesus. And I believe that he wants me to do this, to get here, to be light. One of these days, I want to be able to heal the masses in however way that I'm supposed to do so. Whether that's laying hands, praying, encouraging someone in their business, like however I can be used for people all over the world to get where they want to get, I would love to do that. So that being said, my name is Kenieshiear. You can subscribe to Kenieshiear, and I am here to talk about anything and everything, give you the roadmap of the success, not only my success, but I know a lot of people who are super successful. And so inviting them and their stories, their roadmaps, their plans, so that we can get motivated and make your own plan that you can walk to get where you want to go. And so oftentimes whenever I need direction and guidance, like I'll go to the Bible and I will play roulette with the Bible. I will just say, okay, Lord, what do you want to tell me? And I mean, I just open it up. I'm like, okay, Lord, what you got? What is it? And then I will go and I will read what's there. And I will feel like, this is what is. And I'm just going to read what this is saying right now. Behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who fear him, on those who hope for his loving kindness, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waits for the Lord. He is our help and our shield, for our heart rejoices in him, because we trust in his holy name. Let your loving kindness, O Lord, be upon us, according as we have hoped in you. That is so appropriate right now in so many ways. What I was going to say was he's been leading me to the wisdom of Solomon and then the wisdom of Jesus, and how he's greater than the wisdom of Solomon, who at the time was said there would nothing be before or after him. And there's even greater than Jesus, as we who follow him can do even greater works than he even did. And so I feel like one of my giftings will be this wisdom that I can share with the whole world. And I mean supernatural wisdom, meaning test me, ask me anything, and I believe I will have an answer, because God will give me one, to help people. Because I believe anybody who is searching to do better, be better, contribute, be in their purpose will be successful, because that is what we're meant to do. But it means we have to overcome the resistance in our life, the trauma, the things we've been through as children, the things we're going through now, marriages, bad relationships, bad jobs, bad experiences, illness in our family, illness in our bodies. We've got to overcome the negative and resistive effects of these things and overcome them with more positive things, that there are more positive, healthy, healing things that are outnumbering, because there's a numbers game, outnumbering the things that are making us sick or unhealthy, or the things that have harmed us or hurt us or slowed us down. The trauma that we have has physical effects. There's science now behind it that shows that things that have happened to you, it creates trauma, it creates illness, it creates sometimes even like autoimmune effects. Like the body takes these things on and it slows us down immensely, and it makes us sometimes anxious. It makes us fearful. It takes our patience away to where we don't believe it, or our confidence. It is stripped. And the good news, friends, is there's healing for all these things. And so my encouragement for you is to think about what are the things that you just are holding on to, haven't done yet, want to do, just can't seem to do it, and write those things down. And let's get into the community together. Let's help each other boost into what you need. Sometimes you just need someone to help you escape velocity, right? Help you see what are the things that you can work towards. And no, there is healing. There's definitely the self journey that goes, but it doesn't have to just be that. Do it in tandem, right? Heal while you do. A lot of times it helps, because you start saying, you know what, I can do this. I've got help. I've got support. And that in of itself can bring healing. And then you'll just start seeing, and then you start wanting to make better decisions. If you're doing something that's kind of making you unwell, maybe you don't want to do those things anymore, because look at all the things that I'm doing I don't want to hinder this progress. Everybody's journey is going to be different, but I know it helps to have somebody to go on with you, a community that will support you and to pray for you and to want to see you win. And I want to see you win. I really want to see you win. And it's hard to find somebody. So I'm a great prayer partner. I'm a great motivator, because I actually want to see you win. I'm not planning in the back of my mind that I'm going to be jealous or any of that stuff, because we all have our own paths. Yours is not going to look like mine. Mine is not going to look like yours, but we can share experiences, or I can lend abilities to boost you and vice versa. So there's enough out here for everybody, because everybody has a purpose, which means you have a thing that's just for you that nobody can take away, right? You just got to do it, right? You can choose not to do it, but nobody can take it from you. Believe me, I can guarantee that. So let's join the community. Subscribe to Kenieshiear. Go find Opting Out and start watching it. I suggest trying to find the ones, the extraordinary you ones, because it really helps with the self-confidence, with the value, with that you're loved. Because I believe it does start with knowing you have value, you have purpose, and you are meant to live that out here. And then seeking that, right? And then what do you want to do? And let's do it. And then let's also, share experiences. Let's get you what you need. Let's teach you sales if you want to start a business and all the things. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully it's kind of gotten your expectations started. I'm hoping to see you coming in. We're going to, be rolling out exactly what's going to be there, where you can plug in, all that good stuff, make it very accessible. We'll do these a little bit more often when we will niche it down for the topics, but the whole, body of work will definitely be niched up so that there will be more stuff out there. I want to have something that will go beyond me, because it is beyond me, right? God wants to see his children win, those who are looking for him, those who hope in him. And that is all his children. Whether you believe in him, talk to him or not, your creator created you and you have a purpose, and he wants to see you win, which is really great. And he already won and he's good. So with that, you are loved. You're extraordinary. Hopefully you will opt out with me. And I will see you soon. Good night, good day, good morning, precious friends. I will talk to you later.